He kept calling himself lazy, but the word never fixed anything. It only made him smaller. It made every unfinished task feel like proof that something was wrong with him. He wasn't proud of the way he lived. Half-done plans, open tabs, unread messages, skipped workouts, postponed goals. He looked busy all day, yet nothing important moved forward. The worst part was the guilt. Not loud guilt, quiet guilt. The kind that sits in the background like a low humming noise, draining energy before you even start. This is the story of Alex, a man who didn't lack ambition. He lacked bandwidth. His mind wasn't lazy. His mind was overloaded. Alex woke up tired even after sleeping. Not because his body was weak, but because his brain never truly rested. It kept running lists, worries, deadlines, and regrets like a loop. Before he even got out of bed, he remembered 5 problems: money, work, family, health, the future. His mind stacked them instantly, like it was preparing to fight all day. Then he picked up his phone. 1 notification became 10. 10 became a scroll. And the moment he scrolled, his brain got louder and quieter at the same time. Louder, because more input means more decisions. Quieter, because scrolling numbs thinking. It felt like relief, but it wasn't rest. It was avoidance disguised as recovery. By the time he started his day, he already felt behind. Not behind on work only, behind on life. Behind on becoming the person he promised himself he would be. He told himself, "I'm just lazy," because that explanation was simple. Overload is complex. Overload requires you to manage systems, boundaries, choices. Lazy lets you blame your character and quit. Alex tried to push harder, like everyone says. He made aggressive to-do lists and set alarms like a soldier. But every time he tried, his mind resisted like a tired engine. The lists didn't motivate him. They overwhelmed him. Too many items, too many priorities, too many promises. Each unchecked box became a small insult. He would sit down to work, open his laptop, and freeze. Not because he didn't care, but because his brain couldn't choose where to begin without feeling like he chose wrong. That's what overload does. It turns starting into a threat. Because starting means deciding, and deciding means risking regret. So the mind delays, not out of laziness, but out of protection. Alex didn't understand that. He thought resistance meant weakness. He didn't realize resistance can be a signal that the system is broken, not the person. One afternoon, he stared at a simple task for an hour. A single email. Nothing difficult. Nothing technical. Just words. Yet it felt like lifting a car. Then he did the thing that always helped. He opened a video. Then another. Then short clips. Then social media. He told himself he was taking a break. But when he came back, he felt worse. More shame, less energy, more noise. The break didn't restore him. It fragmented him. He was tired in pieces. That night, he told himself the same lie. Tomorrow I'll be different. Tomorrow became the place where his mind was calm, his life was clean, and his focus finally returned. But tomorrow arrived with the same mind, the same phone, the same triggers, the same clutter. And the story repeated, because he was fighting overload with willpower. One evening, Alex sat at a table with a friend who seemed calm in a way Alex couldn't explain. The friend wasn't rich. He wasn't free of problems. He was just clear. Alex said, "I think I'm lazy." He expected agreement or advice. Instead, his friend asked, "How many things are you carrying in your head right now?" Alex laughed, then stopped laughing, because the number was embarrassing. Work tasks, bills, health stuff, family concerns, goals, unfinished projects, social obligations. Everything felt urgent. His friend said, "That's not laziness. That's overload." Then he added a sentence Alex didn't expect. "A drowning mind looks like a lazy body." Alex felt exposed. Because it was true. He didn't want to be on the couch. He just didn't know how to move with that much mental weight. His friend explained it simply. Your brain has a limited number of clean decisions per day. Every notification spends one. Every open loop spends one. Eventually, you hit zero. At zero, he said, your brain chooses the fastest relief, not the best action. Relief is scrolling, snacking, sleeping, avoiding. It's not moral failure. It's a default setting. Alex asked, so what do I do? His friend didn't say, try harder. He said, reduce load, create clarity. Then action becomes easy again. That night, Alex went home and looked at his life like a system, not a personality test. He didn't ask, what's wrong with me? He asked, what's too heavy? He noticed the first problem. Too many inputs. Notifications, news, messages, content, opinions. His brain was consuming more than it could digest, like eating all day and calling it nutrition. A second problem was open loops. Unfinished tasks, vague goals, unclear priorities. Every open loop sits in your mind like a background app draining battery. The third problem was friction. He tried to do important work in environments designed for distraction. Phone on the desk. Tabs everywhere. Noise, no boundaries. Then he blamed himself. Alex wrote a simple truth in his notebook. My mind is not lazy. My mind is overloaded. Seeing it on paper felt like a small release of shame. Then he built a practical tool. He named it the Overload Reset. Not a long routine, not a perfect morning, just a short process to regain control. Step 1 was brutal, close inputs. He turned off non-essential notifications, not forever, just for 7 days. He wanted to feel the difference between silence and constant pinging. Step 2 was externalize. He opened a page and dumped everything in his head. Every task, worry, idea, obligation, not organized, just out of his brain and onto paper. Step 3 was choose one lane. He circled only 3 items for tomorrow, not 10, not 15, 3, because clarity is not having many options. Clarity is reducing options. Step 4 was define the first action, not work on project. Too big. The first action had to be physical and obvious. Open the document and write the title. Pay this bill. Walk for 10 minutes. Step 5 was a time box. He scheduled one focused block, just 20 minutes. He didn't trust himself with a full day. He trusted himself with a small win. The next morning, Alex woke up and still felt normal. Not inspired, not energetic. But he had something he rarely had. A map, 3 priorities. One first action, one time block. He sat down at his desk and noticed the urge to check his phone. It wasn't strong. It was automatic. Like a reflex his brain used whenever it sensed discomfort. He didn't fight the urge with emotion. He used a rule. Phone in another room for 20 minutes. Not heroic, mechanical. The goal was to reduce load, not prove willpower. He started the first action, and something strange happened. The task wasn't magically fun, but it wasn't heavy. The heaviness had come from the chaos before the work. After 20 minutes, he stopped on purpose. That mattered, because the overloaded mind doesn't trust endless tasks. It needs boundaries. A clear start and a clear stop. Alex wrote a single line. I started. That line felt small, but it was proof. Proof that he wasn't lazy. Proof that when load drops, action rises. Later that day, he felt the old crash around afternoon, the moment where his brain usually begged for fast relief. He expected to fail again. Instead, he used a second tool, the 90-second clear, stand up, one deep breath, drink water. Write the next tiny action on a sticky note. Do it immediately. It worked, not because it made him motivated, but because it reduced decision fatigue. Overload isn't beaten by hype. It's beaten by simplification. Alex began to notice a pattern. The days he felt lazy were the days he had too many choices. Too many tabs, too many tasks, too many inputs. Laziness was often decision paralysis. He also realized he had been using guilt as fuel. He thought shame would push him, but shame doesn't push. Shame poisons. It increases load by adding self-hate to an already heavy mind. So he replaced shame with a standard. Small, clear, daily. He didn't need a perfect day. He needed a predictable day. He created another rule. One list only. No sticky notes everywhere. No 5 apps. One list, one place. Because scattered systems create scattered minds. At night, he did a 3-minute review. What did I finish? What is still open? What is the first action tomorrow? He treated closure like hygiene. Within a week, the noise in his head got quieter. Not silent, but quieter. He still had problems, but the problems weren't screaming all at once. He noticed he had more patience, more focus, more calm. Not because he became a new person, but because his mind had fewer background processes running. Alex understood something important. People call it laziness when a person won't move. But sometimes the person can't move because their mind is carrying too many unfinished weights. Overload also makes simple tasks feel emotional. An email feels like judgment. A workout feels like punishment. A phone call feels like conflict. The mind turns everything into a threat. Reducing load turns those threats back into tasks. Not easy, but doable. You stop needing courage for every small action. Then life tested him. A stressful week, more messages, more deadlines, less sleep. The old pattern tried to return. He felt the urge to disappear, to numb, to delay. He recognized it now, not laziness, overload warning. So he did the overload reset again. Inputs off, brain dump, 3 priorities. First action, 20 minutes. He didn't try to win the week. He tried to regain the wheel. That's when Alex learned the real skill isn't working harder. It's recovering faster. Overload will happen. The question is whether you have a reset that brings you back. He also built a boundary with content. No random scrolling before his first focused block, because the first hour sets the mind's noise level for the day. He replaced the morning scroll with a small ritual. Water, light stretch, 2 minutes of planning. Not because it was magical, but because it protected his attention. Alex noticed he started feeling proud again. Not proud like ego, proud like self-respect. The quiet pride of a person who keeps small promises. He stopped saying, "I'm lazy." He started saying, "I'm overloaded." That sentence changed how he treated himself. Not as a failure, but as a system needing adjustment. He learned to spot overload signals early. Racing thoughts, irritation, avoidance, endless switching. If he saw those signs, he reduced inputs and shrank tasks immediately. He also learned to shrink goals into first actions. Overloaded minds hate vague goals. They need clarity you can touch. Open, write, send, walk, clean, pay. He built a practice called the one next move. When he felt stuck, he asked, "What's the next physical action I can do in 60 seconds?" Then he did it before thinking. Over time, his work improved, not because he got more talent, but because he stopped leaking attention. Attention leak is the real reason many people feel behind. He realized most lazy days were actually days he tried to carry too much alone in his head with no structure. The mind was never meant to be a storage unit. He started using tools the way strong people do. Calendars, lists, timers, boundaries. Not to control life perfectly, but to reduce noise so his effort could aim correctly. Alex became kinder to himself, but not softer. He didn't excuse avoidance. He corrected overload. He learned the difference between compassion and permission. Compassion says, "You're human." Reduce the load. Permission says, Give up. Alex stopped giving himself permission to spiral and started giving himself strategies to reset. If you feel lazy, ask a better question. How overloaded is my mind? If the answer is high, your next move isn't more pressure. Your next move is less noise. Use this today. Turn off notifications for 4 hours. Dump your thoughts onto paper. Circle 3 priorities. Choose the first action. Set a 20-minute timer. Start. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a smaller plan you can obey. Overload hates obedience because obedience requires clarity, and clarity requires subtraction. Subtract inputs, subtract tasks, subtract choices, and watch what happens. Your mind will breathe. Your body will move. The lazy feeling will weaken. Alex didn't become unstoppable. He became stable. Stable is better. Stable is repeatable. Stable is what builds a life without constant self-hate. He learned to protect his attention like money, because attention is your real currency. Spend it on noise all day, and you'll feel broke at night. He realized the people who look disciplined often aren't stronger. They're lighter. Their systems carry the weight so their minds can execute. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, pause. You might be overloaded, and overload is not a character flaw. It's a signal. Signals can be answered. Reduce the load, build a reset. Make your next move obvious, then repeat. The goal isn't to feel amazing. The goal is to feel clear enough to start. Because once you start, the mind quiets. Once you move, the guilt fades. Once you keep one promise, self-trust returns. And self-trust is the opposite of laziness. Your mind doesn't need more pressure. It needs less noise, fewer open loops, and one clear step you can do right now. Start with one list, one timer, one first action. Then let momentum do what motivation can't, carry you through ordinary days. You're not lazy. You're overloaded. And the moment you treat it like overload, you stop attacking yourself and start building a system that works. The world doesn't change when you feel ready. It changes when you reduce the chaos enough to move, even slowly, even imperfectly, but consistently. Today, choose clarity over chaos. Choose the one next move. Then do it before your mind fills the room with noise again. Every story reshapes your mindset.